Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal, Ko-Fi, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter, or X. Now we are joined by Neil, and we were joined by Refracted Curvature, who doesn't seem to be here anymore. We're also joined by a whole bunch of people in Discord who are currently on server deafen, so I'm not blasting them out with my intro. So, welcome, one and all.
How are you?
Very well, Neil. How are you?
I don't know. I got to check out my pictures.
Pictures of what? Earth from space?
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't get into that in the... didn't have enough time in the pre-show to get through the rest of the critique of the guy's discussion points when he holds pictures of a portion of Earth claimed to be from the ISS in a sky vacuum orbiting around Earth. We covered orbits very briefly before the show started. Talking of which, I should really start this recording. So, let's cover the rest of the critique of this guy's claim. The rest of it being the sky vacuum itself, the area. We weren't quite certain, claimant that is, in terms of whether or not we can call it space or not, where the ISS is. Regardless, the area above our heads, the black bit, is claimed to be 10 to the minus 17 torr. That's an area of low pressure, otherwise known as a space. And in terms of what gas does, its behaviour is to expand into whatever volume it's got available to it. That is to say, gas fills space. So if the sky was a vacuum, that's space, then we'd all be dead. We'd have never developed gas pressure in the first place, because the first particle of gas would leave the ground and immediately vacate into a vacuum, never to return, and there would never ever be any development of gas pressure, that's it pressing on something, because the heliocentric model has no containment. Rockets, ISS, moon landings, they all take place by travelling through the high pressure gas we all breathe into an area 10 to the minus 17 torr. That's a sky vacuum that doesn't exist. So the pictures, claimed to come from the ISS, are all fake if they're claimed to come from space, in orbit, derived from a flat plane measurement that we did cover in the pre-show. So with that in mind, I don't mind asking the housekeeping question, is there any evidence that you can have the gas pressure that we're all breathing without containment?
Negative.
Without the container, there can be no pressure.
So how can we have an
That's
area...
a fact.
So for the guy who claimed pictures from space, how can we have an area akin to Narnia to take pictures of Earth from? Answer, we can't. The place the images came from is fake. There is no outer space. Gas would be filling it. Hopefully one of my mods in the live stream chat will put a link to politics server. So we're actually in 24/7 Flat Earth room in the politics server again. We were here last Friday, I believe. Not normally we come twice in a row, but by popular demand, we're back in the politics server. So the usual Flat Earth Debate Discord server had a discussion in the pre-show, deciding which server we'd be going to, and this is the one that we're coming to. So obviously you guys are a favourite.
So Nathan, you have a guy named Geeks. He's been wanting to talk to you, chopping at the bit actually, when you were doing your pre-show. So he wants to speak to you, I guess. So I'm gonna unmute him, and I guess if he has any questions about maybe your housekeeping questions or anything.
Oh right, the housekeeping
All right,
question.
Geeks.
any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container? I mean, if he wants to answer that, he's more than welcome.
Should I do my introduction, guys?
No, just...
Well. We meet again, Mr. Oakley.
How do you have gas pressure without a container?
Do you remember me, sir?
Oh, is this guy retarded?
Yeah, geeks, you got at least pretend like you're sober, okay? At least try.
Yeah, I believe in you, geeks. What's up, Nathan?
Thank you.
Hello, whoever
So
that was.
I actually don't believe there is gas on gas. I've been looking in my telescope, and I think there's like a solid shell. What do you think?
I don't care.
Is that possible though?
I don't care.
Well, you asked about gas being in the container. Now you say you don't care. Okay, fine.
No, I
Anyway.
don't care. No, you guys need a container for your worldview.
No.
Me, I'm not making
That's
any
what I'm
claims
saying.
about that.
There is a
My
there is a
bad.
container.
It's been 3 words. My
There
bad.
is a container.
You take centre stage, mate. Everyone's here to listen to you.
No, I'm discussing with you. Unless you don't want to. It sounds like you don't want to talk to me. So okay, fine. All right. Good luck.
So yeah, I don't make any claims about the sky, so I don't need containment or anything of that nature. I know we're breathing gas pressure, but I don't need to make any claims about why that would exist or
I'm
what the
saying
sky
you are.
is.
I'm saying I am.
My
I'm
bad.
saying I
Is
am.
this me not wanting to have a conversation with some drunk asshole who wants to talk straight through the middle of me? Yeah, you've just
Well, if
removed
you're gonna be
yourself from this
rude-
discussion, and now you continue. You want to be centre stage. You want to be somebody. You've got a star in your eyes. You want to be centre stage. I get it. Go ahead.
Oh, what a horrible person to engage with. No, not bothered. You're a horrible person. Deal with
You
yourself.
remove this
sir.
person. I don't need
Highly
these
channel.
ad homs. I just don't need this. It's not. This isn't my
You're
day.
just-
My
you're
day's
just
quite joyful generally, being told I'm a horrible person. No, I was just having a conversation with you, and halfway through my sentence, you decided no, you're going to start talking through the middle of that as I explain that I'm not making any claims about the sky because I'm not. You have a claim it's a sky vacuum in violation of the second law of thermodynamics, and we debunk that by asking a simple question. How can you, with a sky vacuum belief, have gas pressure that we're all breathing, that is absolutely without question, without containment? That would be to say you can travel into an area of volume that rockets can travel through to get to the moon and satellites to fall around in. No. How do you have that? That's your rhetoric. We're challenging it. That was what I would have been able to say if I wasn't unimpeded by a drunk asshole who's got a globe belief and has previously come here to tell me my stats are bad, I'm a bad person. He's got nothing. That's what you globe believers have got, personal attacks. While I'm trying to define your belief in a sky vacuum that you can't prove because it violates a law of nature. Fun days in the politics survey reminds me of the last time we were here last week. People don't actually want to listen. They want to state their claim and then rumpus the crap out of you so you don't get to respond to them annihilating their fundamentalist belief in a bull. People don't like it. They want you to just listen to their claim. I've got a picture from space. Really, what's space? I don't know. How big is it? 100 metres? How do you know? I don't. Right, so, okay, well, this is a good bit of evidence for your fundy belief in a sphere-shaped world that's based on measurements of a flat plane. I'm thinking no. Raise your standards, fundies. You on the ball have got very low
Can I
standards
ask
to
a
prove your
question?
faith.
Hinker, did you want to
Can
come
I
in,
ask a
mate?
question?
Yes, please do.
Why does the air get thinner when we go higher?
There's less of it. What's that got to do with anything? That's a delta of my question. So gas pressure gradients.
Because if we have gas pressure and we're in a container, you would expect that gas pressure to remain the same because it would evenly spread out through the container.
Would it? Did
So
you not
why
learn
does
about the
pressure get
hydrological
lower
cycle?
No, you're interrupted me. I'm trying.
Because I wanted to disagree with you because you're
Why
wrong.
does
Most
the
people
air
have a
get thinner
basic
when
standard
you
of
get
education where they learn about things like the hydrological cycles. Did you not learn about that in school?
What does that have to do with the air
Because
pressure?
we have
getting
cycles.
higher or
We're
lower
talking
when
about
you-
gas and its behaviour, kind of everything to do with it, because that's how it behaves. You're denying how it behaves because you want to deny that we have cycles and infer that we have equilibrium. No, we don't. I mean, I thought everyone learned about that in school, like gas cycles and stuff. Gas is produced at the ground. Now, the fact that it can dissipate at high pressure means that there's less of it where it isn't produced. That's up in the sky as it travels up, defying any belief in gravity that you fundies have. It goes up from the ground, gets less, because it's not being produced in the sky. Yeah? But it cycles, back down again. Like with rain as an example. Yeah? That's a cycle. It's not an equalised system, and why you would infer that under pressurised containment we would have to have equilibrium. No, we don't experience that. There's wind and cycles. We don't experience equilibrium, but we do experience gas pressure, and that requires us having containment. Otherwise, the wind that we experience in the contained system we must be in would just be dissipating into the sky vacuum instantaneously, with us all choking like in Total Recall.
So why can't that same value be applied to the Earth without a container?
Are you mumbling? Can you repeat that clearly?
Why can't that same value be applied to the Earth without a container? Because it's not a vacuum, like it's sucking air out. It's just the gravity is holding the Earth,
Two
holding
claims.
the Earth's air
Do you
closer.
want me to deal with the question or the claim you made? Which one do you want me to deal with, the question or the claim?
You can deal with both.
Okay, we'll deal with the question you asked first. Why can't we have a pounds per square inch value without a square inch? Because we haven't got a square inch for our pounds to press on if there's no containment. That's what pressure is. As defined by NASA, the force exerted on the walls of the container, end quote, NASA, when defining what gas pressure is. You need a container, it's an antecedent to have gas pressure, so you can have it pressing as opposed to dispersing into sky vacuums, so it can develop complex systems like cycles, like the hydrological cycle that you thought would be equilibrium. It isn't. So why wouldn't we have the same effect, what gas pressure, without something to press on? Because it wouldn't have anything to press on. That answers your question. You said force of gravity? What? You think that the gas which goes up is affected by a downward bias? It's going up from the ground. What are you babbling about? Furthermore, the force of gravity was superseded 109 years ago by a pseudo-conceptual fourth-dimensional medium invented by a man named Einstein, and very specifically detailed as not being a force. So, number one, gas isn't going down. So, number two, it's not affected by a Newtonian downward bias. And number three, the Newtonian downward bias that isn't affecting gas that goes up isn't a bending pseudo-Riemannian force space-time invented by Einstein mathematically that has no bearing on anything because it's not a force. So I hope that addresses your claim that we've got a force of gravity holding gas go down, go boom, boom, when it goes up from the ground. Up! Furthermore, yeah, we need containment for gas pressure. It's an antecedent consequent relationship. We described the force on the walls of the container. It's like saying, why can't we have yummy, cushy air pressure around the rim of a wheel without a tyre? You answer me. Why can't we have the lovely effects of the squishy air without the horrible expense of having to buy a container to put it in? The rubber's really expensive. Why can't we just have that without any containment?
Plus, they don't have any down.
Normal Earth pressure.
Come again?
It's higher than the normal pressure of the space around it.
What, like Earth at a higher pressure than the space around it? It would expand into it, yeah. Like
So
the tyre
the-
pressure. I'm still
the
talking.
standard
I'm still
pressure.
talking. I'm still talking. This is triggering. I understand that what I say is utterly devastating to somebody with a religious belief in an area volume that gas is not filling, akin to tyre pressure without the tyre. Now, what you say is, well, the tyre's at higher pressure than the air around it. What, like 14 psi versus 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum? Yeah, that's a differential that couldn't exist. It violates a law of nature, entropic law. Yeah, the gas would want to fill that space, leaving us all dead. Yeah, like the tyre, even with a tiny hole in it, eventually all the gas will get out. Well, is there a tiny hole in the container around Earth? No, there isn't one. You've just got a rhetoric of rockets going into an area of volume that gas doesn't. It's nonsense. There is no outer space. There's no pictures coming from there. It's utterly absurd. It's a violation of natural law. There must be containment for us to be at pressure.
Next.
Did he say gas goes in, go boom boom, or down, go boom boom?
Oh, he said down, John.
Doesn't. It doesn't, but go ahead, John.
Down is with respect to a horizontal plane of reference, not
Yeah.
a curve.
Yeah. What is it with the globe believers utilising flat earth concepts like down? I don't get it. They need a flat earth to make their globe belief. It's mad.
I think I got something for you here that's I've been following for the last couple of days. The New York prison system was going to lock down all the inmates for the eclipse. They cited security reasons, that the guards will be too distracted to effectively administrate prison security. So a bunch of inmates said it violates their First Amendment right to religion if they're being banned from being able to see the eclipse. And the religion they cited was atheism. And the courts agreed.
Whoa, no way.
Practice.
No
Yeah.
way. So it's defined. If you can have a precedent set by a judge that says this aspect of heliocentrism is the religion of atheism, that's now set as precedent.
Yeah, here's a link right here. They just settled this morning. So the 8 or 6 inmates will be allowed to view the eclipse as it would violate their practice of their religion, atheism.
Wow.
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 That's big.
Isn't that interesting?
That's
And who
loony.
would have known?
That's gnarly.
Go ahead. It is. Who would have known that religion of, if you're going to call it that, atheism, requiring a view of the claim to be orbital motion producing the eclipse, was actually based on flat Earth angle measurements? Who knew? We're teaching advanced heliocentrism now. People obviously are completely unaware that their belief in a globe is based on measurements of Earth that is a flat plane. The globe belief has its genesis in flat Earth measurements. Very few people know that.
Okay, then maybe I will ask John. You can answer any question, or not question, or you can argument against anything that globe is trying to say. Oh, you need a flat plane of reference to get that. Why do you think it is? Because of the Earth is flat. Therefore, you can answer any argument. Oh, you need a flat plane of reference to get that.
Yeah.
Is I'm absolutely correct?
Are you asking John?
Or I'm asking John, yes.
No, I've just looked at the claims that Earth's a sphere, and they all require a flat plane of reference.
So you can really answer any question, not question, or argument, or statement, or claims. Maybe all of them. Maybe something.
I can give you an example. The previous discussion here, the gas pressure. That the description of the gradients, it starts at sea level. It requires a horizontal plane of reference for that description.
Johnny was just
That
about
also.
to. A perfect example. Was that George? Thank you. But Johnny was about to get to the point where he was going to state, and I'm putting words in your mouth because you didn't quite get there, Johnny, that you could just say all of your globe claims will require a flat Earth, and that would be correct. But that's also a bit 2023, because upon realizing that what we then paraphrase into all roads lead to a flat Earth, that doesn't necessitate arguing against the starting point that's been back engineered to be able to make the statement that you need a flat Earth in the first place. Ergo, in 2024, we can make the positive assertion without any globe reference. Earth is measured flat.
Yes, and also if you are talking about the object that is falling down in a free fall, you also need a flat plane of reference to say so, right?
Yeah.
Is I wrong about that?
Yeah, it's just working from the outside in rather than the inside out. So rather than through 2023, when we're talking about parallel light rays coming to a globe surface that can't give you angles and then transposing it into the center of hell so you can work on the equatorial plane, that's a road leading from a claim to be sphere that you can imagine back to the starting point of a flat Earth. That's all roads lead to a flat Earth. The other way round is, at that point, who gives a toss about the globe? Earth's measured flat. So just say that as it is. Why are we having to work defensively against people's current globe belief when we can just state as fact and a positive assertion on the front foot, offensively, Earth's measured flat? What's that? You want to install a globe belief into this? Well, I'll just show you how that came from a genesis of a flat Earth measurement.
And I will say, because of my knowledge, that the Earth is measured flat with sextant, and that's so obvious for me. That's my understanding and knowledge. It's because they think that it's a sphere. It's because it's a celestial sphere. There may be that is manipulation of making your Earth a spherical, but it's not the Earth that is spherical. It's a celestial view, and that's because of perspective. How can I explain that very easily for people?
Explain what? You don't have to call it perspective, because to ascribe what we have described terrestrially as perspective would be reasonable but unnecessary when describing navigation. Okay, so when it's plonked in orthographic view, as I've just had on screen, you can see that the perspective is removed. You're seeing side on like they do with the globe, and all you're seeing is the triangle and the right angle that forms with the star. Now, you could, but again, it's not necessary, describe the recession from zenith, that's a star directly above your head, as you move away from it towards the horizon, right? So let's say it's Polaris, just to keep it simple. It's not moving, you're backing away from it. As you back away from it, it moves towards the horizon. Or alternatively, you stand in one spot and pick a star that does move, you watch it go towards the horizon, and it gets lower and lower and lower. Well, that would be the same effect if you had a building that you moved away from. You back away from it, it gets closer and closer to the horizon. So you go, okay, well, these two things seem akin. So it's perspective, right? No. Because other effects that can be worked into the description of angular resolution loss, Rayleigh criterion, and the respective angles and limitations with respect to the surface don't apply to the sky when you're talking about the stars. In fact, they fundamentally defy it in one respect. As you raise in altitude, the angle that you measure with your sextant on your boat, Johnny, doesn't change compared to a hot air balloon directly above your boat if the hot air balloon was capable of getting to 100,000 feet. If it can measure the stars, it's getting the same angle as you are on the ground. Now, there's no limitation in terms of the sky, whereas on the ground there is. There's a limitation to the deck. And they've used that optical effect to call it Earth curve. We won't get into that now. But that means it defies perspective, doesn't it? Lastly, just for you, Johnny, when you were following this process, did you ever need or feel the requirement to go out of your way to redefine the things you were using in the process, like the horizon or elevation angle measurements themselves, or whether or not what you were doing would be conducive to a perspective description? Did you ever feel compelled when actually doing it to do any of those things, or did you just follow the process?
Yeah, I have knowledge that we have because the angle to the ground, that's the angular resolution is lost. But the whole picture is how we are getting the measurement or the degree. Then that is the elevation angle to the sun, and the sun can be so far away. It's more far away that the angular resolution to the ground can fix. But you have the horizon far away. That is just our apparent measurement, but it has to be flat to work. Therefore, that is absolutely proof, because that's the only way it can work. You can get circular
I'm just going to stop you just
equilateral.
because I've asked you a really particular question. I do agree with you. Yes, it has to be flat. That's how it works. But when it is in operation, that is to say, imagine you're doing it right now. When you're doing it, do you go, I wonder how I should term the horizon that I'm pointing this mirror at? Or do you just point your mirror at it? Do you, when looking at the star, go, the fact that this is at a 45-degree angle must mean that I could describe this as perspective? Or do you just measure a 45-degree angle to that star you're going to be navigating with? Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah, I just take the elevation angle and put it down to the line in front of me. That's what we call
Perfect.
horizon.
Perfect. If I may, Johnny,
and
perfect.
time.
Perfect. You just follow the process. Right, the process is what it is. So currently, and we've stamped this out through 23 to be perfectly honest, but we've got a few stragglers that still feel the need to argue with us about this process. It's like, why are you arguing with me about what celestial navigation is? Well, we must define the horizon as X. How would you describe... I don't care. It's not relevant. The process works on a flat Earth. It proves we're measuring it flat. How we define things like the horizon or the angle measurement in terms of perspective with our crude English words is irrelevant to the process and what it proves and what you're measuring. We are processing this information of the angles to the stars into all of our maps and models, including the globe. And it's flat. The measurement starts flat. The globe has its genesis in these measurements. That's all that matters. No apologetics are needed. That's what it is. Not up for discussion or debate or what I think this or that and the other within the process will be defined as. It's irrelevant. Earth is being measured flat, navigated flat, built on flat. We describe up and down when it comes to arguments about delta X earlier in this live show. With respect to sea level, what? How much does the air thin out at a certain altitude with respect to sea level? We're going to need flat planes to describe all of these things for you to argue about a non sequitur, because delta X has nothing to do with gas pressure needing to be pressing on something. But if you can appeal to something that seems like it's conducive with the argument, well, we've got a pressure gradient, let's argue about that. And how do you explain the dynamic system? Who cares? Yeah? If rockets can go into a volumeless area, an area of volume, my bad, then so can all the gas. That's the point. Space is fake. But to describe it in the argument, they still need a flat plane to do it. Up and down. What, with respect to a horizontal? Yeah, you'll need a flat Earth for that. Sea level's what describes the pressures at various elevations.
I will come back to.
Just let Johnny round out. Then hold on, Johnny, get control. Then hold on, Johnny. I've got to get control. Then I'll reintroduce you. I promise. But I've got to be under control. Brian after Johnny, if you don't mind. Brian, that was his point. So go ahead, Johnny.
No worries. Thank you. I will just round off. I will just talk about then. If the argument is against my sextant navigation, they are using some kind of spherical geometry and spherical angles. That is absolutely nonsense. I don't know about that. It doesn't matter if they say that in the math. They can do something spherical geometry, triangulation.
That's contradiction.
What they call it. That is nonsense because nobody is using it. If nobody is using it, why are they using that as an argument?
If you're talking about PZX angles, right, you're talking about the angles that they plot out on the protractor when they're measuring an angle with respect to a polar-eccentric system in the centre of Earth. You can transpose out the angle into a curve angle on the protractor. That's what they're doing. It doesn't mean that you're representing what you actually measure to the surface. It just means that they can then, this is back to 2023, say, oh yeah, of course I'm getting an angle off a flat surface. It's so big it's flat, giving me the angle, and all the light rays come in parallel, and therefore we can use it with respect to the centre of Earth. Because it effectively is, it's all moving to the centre. Why? Because it just is, it's so far away. Okay, so we're in the centre of Earth, but we're measuring on the surface without an angle-based surface to give us the angle. But that's because it's so big it's flat. That's working backwards and apologising within the debate and having to work through all of their fundamentalist beliefs that are based on a system that's been put into effect, that's the protractor representative of the globe Earth for you to not stand on because you're in it. Well, all of those to be described started with the measurement of the angles to the stars, in this case Polaris, for a radial value of a sphere Earth that's going to be the protractor you measured through. So that's, as I say, in 2024, Johnny, where I just start. Earth's measured flat. You measured it flat. You followed the process flat. You didn't question anything about it. It just functioned as it functioned with your flat map and your circles that you drew on it flat. Because that's how the world works. And that's how it's mapped and measured, and that's how the globe came to fruition. Is there anything else, Johnny? Otherwise, Brian will be chomping at the bit.
I will just say that then in the end, I will say, yeah, we are not listening to answer like, oh, the Earth is so peaky. No, that's over. Thank you.
Yeah, Brian.
Thanks, Nathan. Thanks, Johnny. I have two things to say on it, on what you've just, a couple of the things you brought up. One is all they did was place a globe in between the surface they're measuring the angle on and the point on the celestial dome that the angle is going to. That's all they did. They just placed a circle over that and said that you were referencing a point on the surface of a globe. So the surface you're measuring from is a flat plane, and the celestial dome mathematically is, you just mathematically is an orthographic dome. So it's just a point. It doesn't have to be. You can make it into a triangle. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be dome, but just dome is the easiest. And to a point on that, that's what you're doing. So when you're making that measurement, all they're doing is sticking a globe surface, mathematical globe surface, between you, the person measuring the angle, and the point on the celestial dome that you're measuring to. It's just absolute. It's just a mathematical hijacking of a protractor. That's all it is, the celestial dome. But when it comes to you just brought up there a minute ago as well, the pressure gradient. The reason that this is when they bring that up, they're in a category error because they're not addressing the reality. The reality is we don't have a closed static system, because that's where air would just expand. In a closed static system, the air will have an equal pressure throughout. So a closed static system would be like a canister in a factory with gas in it, right? The pressure would be basic, depending on temperature. But if the temperature is equal, it's going to be an equal pressure throughout, right, from the bottom to the top. Whereas we live in a closed dynamic system, right? We have cycles, and we have the sun heating the surface of the Earth. That then, through radiative heat transfer, that then is transferred through conductive heat transfer from the surface to the air, and then that becomes a convective heat transfer through the air, creating convection currents, and the convection cells are a main part of our gradient. But we can't have that temperature or that gradient or the gas pressure or a low grade vacuum like we do have in the sky, or any vacuum, without a container. You can't have any of those things in reality without a container. So they're claiming gas pressure, temperature, and vacuum without container. So they don't understand the world they're living in, because they just pre-assume that it's this open system. You know what I mean? And that gravity is somehow a force, right? Something that's thrown out the window in 1915, and that is somehow creating a gas pressure gradient, something that mainstream PhDs, right, are literally correcting themselves publicly for stating in the past and saying, sorry, we do have a gas pressure gradient, but that has nothing to do with gravity, or a gradient of gravity. That's not the same thing. It does not create the other. So we have a lot of people who just don't know what they're talking about. They're just getting these things from some other anti-flat earther or baller, and they think they have some kind of an argument, but they have no substance and no context to the argument. They don't understand what they're talking about. They don't understand the fusion. If we had a vacuum that was 10 to the minus 17 torr surrounding us, then there's no way, even with temperature differences, there'd be no way for that gas we're breathing now to not diffuse into this area of basically no resistance, right? But more than that, there might even be a gradient, but the gradient wouldn't be what we have in reality, right? And if there was a vacuum to 10 to the minus 17 torr, that have to be surrounded by a solid container. You know what I mean? Because they keep on wanting to bring us into this non-reality. That's not reality. Now that's the difference. We're arguing with people for years now, a decade for some of us, right? Betty and that, 9 years for me and you, Nathan, and others. Right? We're arguing with these people who don't want to live in reality, or they're not living in reality. So you're having an argument with them about what's happening in reality, and their comeback is something to do with a paradigm that's just made up. You know, how are you supposed to win a debate when you're debating someone who is living in a paradigm that's not reality, and you're addressing reality? You're both in the category error.
Yeah, but the
One of you
standard.
should be at a Comic-Con. You know what I mean? One of you should be at a
Before you draw
Comic-Con.
comparisons to Comic-Con, okay, because of the standard that your average layman will accept, if you are told by an authority that you've got a photo from Narnia, and Narnia is the worldview that everybody holds, then that photo's from Narnia. Us coming along and going, but there isn't a Narnia. In fact, Narnia violates quite a few several natural laws. So how can Narnia be real? They will then tell you, I've got a photo from it. And when you ask them to question their own sanity when it comes to the standard that they're ascribing to the photo, they very quickly realise that they've just appealed to the authority that's told them it's a photo from Narnia. So their standard on a surface level is, well, of course we've got a Narnia, I've got a photo from there. You appealing to gas pressure gradients as a delta X in the anti-flat earth rhetoric that we argue here in the trenches, yeah, that's not the standard that most normies would adhere to. They just go, photo from space. No, space isn't real. You just haven't appreciated that. You've taken it on faith. Like the rest of the globe model that's based on flat earth measurements. The reification of the flat earth measurements into sphericity is taken on faith. Everyone's looking at a globe, experiencing a globe, building on a globe. That doesn't happen. Where do they get their images from, though? Well, photos from space. There's a very different standard at work. People are lazy, Brian. When you get into the rhetoric of the trenches, they're fighting their own cognitive dissonance at that point.
Yeah, that was beautifully explained by you, Brian. But they'll come right in and show you a picture.
What was also
lay that out 100 times, and somebody will come and show you a picture.
What also explained beautifully by Brian, and I hope this continues, is as our understanding, this has started with John 2 years ago, John, who's on the panel, Refracted Curvature, right? When he took two puppets and explained how you can turn the flat surface of a kitchen into the protractor. Yeah? Now, 2 years later, we all got it. We got it back then, but understanding how you can show that in celestial navigation manuals or Danny Faulkner in front of a congregation when he's describing angles from hell. There's a reason he's got to take it there. And it's because that is the genesis of the systems that infer there's a 3,959 mile protractor around your position. And then beyond that, you've got an infinitely expanded out celestial sphere. Why is it infinite? Well, because there is no perspective involved, there is no sphere involved, there is no protractor involved. So therefore, there's no globe Earth and there's no sphere of the heavens. You've got a parallel plane. For you to have the view of something above your head moving towards the horizon like an aeroplane when it maintains level flight, it, to your view, looks like it's following a curved path towards the horizon. That's just how the world presents itself to you. To then say, well, because of which I can represent the angles I can measure out to each of these stars receding towards the horizon as though they're in a dome called the celestial sphere. No, they're not. They're parallel with the ground, so much so that they don't even change in angle as you raise up. It can only be parallel with the flat ground that must be in effect for it to function in that way and be capable of being described as a celestial sphere. But as you move along the ground, your representative view of the world will change with respect to the stars above you. Likewise, the position of those stars above the ground changes as time flows. Now, we've tracked those positions with respect to their angles on a flat plane, and that is what the basis of globe comes from. That's where it is originating in these measurements of the stars with respect to a horizontal plane and the sky parallel with it. I'm done.
They use another word to describe that as well. It's an oxymoron. It's called the planisphere.
I mean, it's fair enough to describe it that way. In orthographic view, if you watch you looking out from your if you forget about you actually watching the stars and seeing them from your position, you're now stepping back from someone else who's watching the stars, and as you're looking at them, they lie on their back on the ground and go, oh, there's a star right above me. So as you look at them, you've got a line going up in orthographic view, basically, to the star above them. Then they stand up and look to their left. And they go, oh, I've got a star on my horizon, because they're with a walkie-talkie radioing this back to you. So in orthographic view, with you looking at them, there's a star down on the left-hand side of them. Yeah? At 0 degrees on a protractor. Likewise, at 180 degrees, when he turns around and looks at the opposite horizon, he's got a star on that horizon. Well, you can see that between those points on the horizon and the one above his head, you can put in all of the stars that he can see from his view and ascribe them angle measurements along a protractor. Right, so now you've got a guy on the ground you're looking at with a protractor around him that you've mapped out. Well, obviously the stars aren't on those points of the protractor that you've drawn on this image, so we'll put them further out. So we'll draw another sphere around that protractor. And we're going to call that sphere the celestial sphere, where the stars are positioned. Now, does that mean at that point that you've got a dome around you with the stars? No, because the star that was on the horizon when we first described this example isn't crashing into the ground. Yeah? It's still in the sky above someone else somewhere else. So it's parallel with the ground, capable of being described in an angular way, or even, if you will, a perspective way. Doesn't mean it is. In fact, to have this description, it must be parallel. Flat sky, flat ground, that's how it works. And that's the basis for the globe.
I can turn my sitting room floor here, that's a flat floor. Like, it's not you can only describe it as flat, right? Concrete floor. I can turn that into the surface of a sphere, the surface of a half sphere, of a dome, by pre-assuming that the light that's in the ceiling is at an infinite distance away, and that the measurement I'm taking is not from the surface of the floor. That floor is surrounding the flat surface that I'm taking the measurement from. I can then turn that mathematically, this flat floor, into a half dome, or into a dome, like a half sphere.
Exactly, like I exampled right at the beginning where John did it with Bunk and Debunk the Puppets. So Roger Ledwell, thank you for the super chat. He says, ever read The Silver Chair? Hats off to Puddleglum. What's Puddleglum? I haven't read it, sorry. Thank you for the super chat though. 101 people watching, so a very warm welcome to all of you who've just joined us. Chances are you've joined us because someone shared the show with you. Please share the show if you've not done so already. It's like 2 clicks. Press share and then press Facebook and that's it. Really easy to share the show. Go ahead.
No, not ahead. Johnny's here.
Just 1 second, Johnny.
I will change the...
Johnny, I'll do the same to you as I did to Brian earlier. Just hold your horses. I'll come to you in a second. Brian, go ahead, then Johnny.
Just a second, yeah. Because John, no offense to Refracted, he just won't do it. So I'm going to have to make... I might be able to do it. No, I'll have to. I don't have my computer working at the moment. But I should have a computer to use in the close future. And as soon as I do, I think I'm going to make the do-it-yourself, turn your sitting room floor into a half sphere, step-by-step tutorial. That way everyone will understand.
That reminds me.
What do you mean John won't do it? What happened?
Although it's an off-topic subject, probably should be discussed in the pre or after show. But I did mention to my tech guy that you wanted a computer at some stage, and then I haven't actually mentioned to him that you might be getting one by an alternative means. Should have actually mentioned that to him, and you specifically told me. Make sure you make your computer guy aware that I might not be needing a computer from him. Anyway, that's just something to make a note to myself, and saying it on the live show will remind me to tell him next time I see him. Oh, by the way, I think Brian might have sourced a different computer. I just don't want him looking out for you, that was all. I've just forgotten to tell him.
Yeah, no. Well, listen, if he comes across something good anyway, I might be interested anyway. But I'm just saying that right now it looks like I'm going to have a computer to use in the next 2 weeks. So.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Sorry, guys.
I appreciate it, though. I do appreciate it, big time, definitely. A lot.
Cool beans. That aside was brought to you by the internal workings of Flat Earth Debate. And meanwhile, over to you, Johnny.
Yeah, I don't know the argument. Taking the dead horse down again. I know it's not the right way to say it, but the horse is down. maybe we don't have to talk about it so long time. So we have to go with white things. White things like it's a lot of flutter that really things like a widget, so on. Coriolis is some kind of a force or something that can do something, and they agree with the Boris. Yeah, I understand what they are trying to say, what Coriolis is, but they have to call it something else. What is Coriolis? Coriolis is just an optical illusion, or that you think you see if you are on a rotating reference frame, non-rotating. And if you have inertia and non-inertia. That's the question.
Don't
No,
forget
he's doing really
spinning.
well. He just said non-rotating rather than non-inertial. I was following along. No, you're doing really well. Keep going, Johnny. You're doing really well.
So why are flotters still don't understanding what this is about? It's pissing me off. Therefore, I really have to bring it up. That was my point, really, to come in here, to point it out. It has to stop. It's just about the illusion. What is
yeah, I don't summarize it again. You've done a good job already. Stop. You've done it. Stop. You've done a good job. You've done a great job. You've summarized it. Non-inertial turning reference frame. You observing the illusion from the turning reference frame. You've done a good job of summarizing it, and you're absolutely correct. You didn't make a mistake. You just said non-rotating rather than non-inertial at one stage. But other than that, you did perfectly right. But that's not what I'm going to address. Because you're like, it's annoying me. You actually said pisses me off. But that people just don't get that. It's the single most convoluted and therefore complicated subject in this arena, bar none.
Why is this happening? Why cannot people take this? I think it's very, very easy to understand. Really, it is.
Okay, let me answer. On screen now, got Simon Dan leaning out of a helicopter on a rope ladder with the word ruined coming out of his mouth for my audience. Okay. Why? Well, because when we explain the lack of Coriolis effect on a claim to be turning Earth, they tell us that our reference frames that we have just described that they use to claim Earth spins are ruined. So upon me pointing out how Coriolis works in a live stream or a recorded video, Simon Dan has entered into a debate with me to tell me that my reference frames have been ruined, with an example showing no drift. Now that means that he has then convoluted the actual globe claim, that's that there's a drift at 15 degrees an hour as you turn underneath stuff, that's what Coriolis is, as admirably described by Johnny. But when we show it doesn't happen, they try and overcome the argument by ascribing their globe Earth reference frames that aren't exhibiting the effect to me, the flat earther, to tell me that they're broken. That's what Simon did when he entered into debate with me via Twitter. Now, as a result of him being annihilated, and having the fact that his claim involves reference frames pointed out to him, means he just has to lie about having ever debated with people and give his excuses for why he doesn't debate when he does. He just has to lie to overcome that problem that he's caused himself by entering proactively into debate with me on Twitter over Coriolis effect, to tell me that my, no globe Earths, Dan, reference frames are ruined, end quote, Simon Dan. So that's why it's very convoluted.
It's absolutely, and the question is, if something is hovering and you have a helicopter hovering and the Earth is rotating and you're landing the helicopter on the spot after several hours or maybe day or whatsoever, it will always land on the same spot if it's just hovering. But how is that possible if you have a rotating Earth on the, then they say the atmosphere, that's oxymoron, of course, is letting you flow in with the Earth.
There
How
it is.
can you explain that?
Well, there it is, because they're then saying there's not a second reference frame to see the drift from. If Earth and atmosphere move together, then there is no drift to account for. So their claim can be exemplified by a sniper rifle example that you're all familiar with if you're listening or watching or you're in the Discord server on my panel. They say that the sniper has to track the target because the bullet, once it leaves the barrel, will be affected by the fact that Earth will turn beneath it, giving you a apparent curved path of the bullet. In reality, the bullet's actually travelling straight, but Earth is moving from beneath it. That's Coriolis effect in essence. That's the claim. You observe a not actual deflection. That's to say the bullet isn't really curving away from the target, but it appears to if you watch it and track it. Because, why? What's the cause of that effect, called Coriolis? Well, the rotating reference frame that is Earth moving underneath it. Okay, well, how much is the rate of the bullets appearing to drift and curve when it isn't really, it's just Earth turning underneath? Well, the rate's 15 degrees an hour. That proves we spin, they say. Okay, so Earth turns underneath the bullet, and we observe it as a not actual curved path of the bullet. Looks like it curves, but doesn't really, because Earth turns underneath the bullet when it leaves the gun. So when the hot air balloon or helicopter leaves the ground, Earth turns underneath the helicopter at 15 degrees an hour. No, it doesn't. It's total nonsense. But when we point out that Earth isn't turning underneath the helicopter or the hot air balloon, Simandan in this instance will turn around to me and tell me that my reference frames are ruined because Earth and atmosphere move together as one.
Oh, shit.
I'm sorry to the people of the politics server that Johnny rumpused every word of that. Wasn't a problem for my audience.
But then the Coriolis...
Yeah, relax, Johnny.
The Coriolis is just a man from France that was a very, very great man and was describing how something that is, if you're on a non-inertia reference frame, and you have the inertia also above you. What is this about? It was talking about the different reference frame. You will have a drift. That is the drift you're talking about. And it looks like it is going in a bend way, but it's really going straight in reality. It's
Hey,
just
hey, Johnny, I've got
Yeah.
a little poem on that if you want to listen to it.
Go ahead.
Called, basically what you're saying, it's called Misunderstood. I'm feeling misunderstood, and that's not good. People don't get me. They never see the real me. They say I'm drifting and falling off track, but I don't see myself like that. My aim is to stay on the straight and narrow, forward thinking, never deviating. But in your mind and from your point of view, you think I'm actually drifting, and that's not true. It can be a lonely place in my reference frame of mind. People on the earth can be so unkind, observing and watching me as if they were blind. My name is Coriolis, and I'm misunderstood. People just don't get me, and that's not good. The end.
That was brilliant.
Thanks,
Absolutely brilliant. So, wow, I just have to say, wow, it was absolutely brilliant.
Okay, Johnny, please can you mute when other people are talking?
Yeah, but
You ruined it, Johnny.
No, I didn't. It was absolutely great, and everybody got it.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah, they
hear
got
your own
you.
mic interfering with everyone else's sound, but there we go. Anyway. How long we been live for? We've been live for almost an hour. Cool. Is there anybody else with a globe Earth belief that wanted to challenge anything we generally put out into the arena of flat Earth debate and discussion while we're still live?
What happened to the guy with the pictures? I thought he was going to come back.
I don't know.
The trouble with the pictures and the videos, Neil, as you know, is they have no way of verifying that they're true.
Well, he started getting upset before Nathan even started critiquing the proof.
That was a little test.
Hey, I got a question.
Go ahead.
All right. So when people go skydiving, they tend to observe the curvature of the Earth, like the natural curvature. Are they lying?
Say that one more time.
So when people go skydiving, like if you have you heard of halo jumps? High altitude, low orbit.
We did cover orbits at the beginning of the show, but
yeah, but like when people go skydiving, essentially, and they see the curvature of the Earth, are they lying or delusional?
You say see the curvature of Earth. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, like there was a really famous one. It wasn't.
I don't need an example, my
skydive.
friends. Just slow down. Is your example to say that in the images from skydivers we can see Earth curve horizons? Correct? Is that your claim? Okay. So I assume you are unfamiliar with our debunking of the claim that the horizon's Earth curve back in 2020. I'll go through it in just 1 second. Shout out to Roger Ledwell. Ladies and gentlemen, level plane. Thank you for the super chat, Roger. Okay. The assertion that the image has an Earth curve edge for a horizon is derived from geometric Earth curve mathematics that are based on measuring a flat Earth to derive and infer that the horizon is a point you can call Earth curve. Labeled
Well, this doesn't answer my question, actually.
My bad. Sorry, very triggering. You go ahead.
No, I was specifically asking, are they lying or delusional?
You're giving a false dichotomy when I'm explaining that the premise you hold when you look at the image and claim that the horizon is an Earth curve edge was debunked in 2020.
How so?
If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to that geometric horizon you're inferring in the image could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer sine feet, as dictated by the Earth curve maths that is derived from measuring a flat Earth surface level and deriving the differential from the eye level at altitude to infer that there's a Earth curve edge below surface level marked with an X and labelled horizon in the Earth curve maths. I didn't get to the end of my explanation before you interrupted. I had to close my Discord line for my audience so they could hear the end of my explanation. My live audience would prefer to hear the end of my explanation rather than you yammering through the top of the end of it. Would you like me to repeat it? My audience got to hear it because I had to close your line so that you didn't interrupt the end of the conclusion. Can you not do that in future? I'm explaining why we don't have an Earth curve edge for you to infer, because it's inferred from maths that's derived from flat Earth measurements of surface level. That's the third time I've told you.
Yeah, are you done? Are you done?
Did you listen to what I said? Am I done? Did you understand what... Not am I done. Did you understand what I was explaining when I finished and you didn't say a damn word? Did you understand what I said? Yes, I'm done. Did you understand it?
Yeah, I got an idea. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so how do you know it's derived from like a flat Earth model?
Did you not listen to me? Now we're just assessing how well you're... I'm talking. I'm answering you. You don't have to talk to me. I just asked you politely not to yammer through the top of me. Obviously, you did not listen when I explained that it came from your Earth curve maths. That's where the assertion came from. I've already explained it. You weren't listening. Would you like?
Are you done?
Would you like to ask any follow? Would you like to ask any follow-up questions about that which you didn't listen to and now obviously seem to need to clarify, or would you prefer to just respond to some of the things I've actually said rather than repeatedly asking me if I'm done? Yeah, I'm done annihilating your claim that the wait for the interruption horizon in the image is an Earth curve edge based on Earth curve maths that says we've got an Earth curve at the horizon when you derive that Earth curve from a measurement of a surface level that's flat. Fourth time. Do you understand? Would you like to refute that which debunks your claim you've got an Earth curve edge in the image? Because I've debunked it, mate, 4 times. You just haven't responded to any of it. And then sought clarity on that which I've explained in terms of the origin of the maths. Earth curve maths, mate. That answers your first question. Anything to follow up, or you just going to ask me if I'm done? Yeah, I'm done. Annihilating Earth curve.
All right, I've already asked like 2 times now, but are you done for like the 3rd time?
He's got nothing.
Yeah, He's done. He's the one who's done.
You're done, mate. I'm done demolishing your claim that there's a sphere edge horizon called Earth curve in your image from skydivers with their low altitude, high opening jumps with pictures of edges in horizons you infer are Earth curve based on mathematics that have very specifically detailed their origins. And how that maths works to infer you've got a horizon that's Earth curve is by measuring a flat Earth. Surface level in Earth curve maths. Hope you understand. Obviously not.
He also,
Yeah, John.
Nathan, can we put you on BBC? Are you, if you can put you on BBC, are you? Do you agree?
Johnny, we can't even understand you.
BBC?
Just think about the sentence you want to say before you talk through John, and then we'll come back to
I'm just saying, are you able to go to the big stream media and talk about it?
Am I able to go through the big media? I don't know if I can. I'm sorry.
BBC, for example.
Give it a rest.
Just a quick, I mean, this guy, just to sum things up, this guy's coming in saying, someone jump and have a parachute is observing the horizon Earth curve. Yeah, this is what they're all doing now. I mean, there's another guy in AT who claims that Concorde proves globe Earth. Would you like to speak about that AT with Nathan?
Oh,
Don't be mean to Johnny. He idolizes you, Nathan Oakley. Don't be mean to him.
Oh, here we go.
Hey,
Obnoxious.
Hey, you're like a dog behind. I understand that.
Right, let's just
I
ask
don't-
politely, Johnny and Rob Noxious. Right, we all acknowledge your presence. Praise be to both of you. Please don't disturb the actual conversation that's about to take place. Please.
So,
Right.
yeah,
So I was
given
asked the
the-
question. Oh, never mind.
No, you go ahead. If you want to round out, you feel free.
Yeah, I feel like I accidentally interrupted some other guy, so I'll wait for him to finish and then I'll, clap flat Earth.
You're
Right.
what?
Liar or delusional is a false dichotomy. They're wrong. They're not liars, and they may not be delusional. They're just wrong when they say they see Earth curve. I'm done.
And how would they verify that to be true?
You go to the mathematics of the geometric physical assertion of an Earth curve edge at the horizon, based in the mathematics of a sphere edge, based on a radial value measured on a flat plane at 3959 and an observer height at 1.2 times the square root thereof. Like I explained to him 4 times. That's where the assertion
But
comes
that's the
from.
problem. They don't even know their own claims, Nathan.
Yeah, that's where I was too. I did a lot of skydiving, and when I was still a globe head, I walked into flatter space and said, "You can go skydiving. You will see the curve." And they're like, "Well, how much curve do you see?" I'm like 3%. Like, well, were your goggles? Did that maybe make it curve? I'm like, yeah, kind of. Did you have a lot of adrenaline pumping? Did you get tunnel vision? Yeah. How big would your Earth be if that was a 3% curve? That'd be like Earth, the county you live in would be like, a huge part of the Earth. I'm like, damn. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but
these globalists
that's
don't go
all
any
irrelevant.
further.
No,
They don't go any
it's not
further.
relevant. Hold on. Before Neil decries your example, right, I'm going to agree with you to disagree with you so that you don't think we're just decrying your example. It's perfectly relevant, Neil, because they double speak heliocentrists in their own religious rhetoric. Let me explain. They'll tell you in Earth curve maths that you can see Earth curve at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's what? 3 miles for a 6-foot man? So you can see it from surface level. The maths dictates that is the case. They will simultaneously tell you, let's give you a specific example. Neil deGrasse Tyson will specifically tell you, while slapping a beach ball and telling you, you do not see the curve of the Earth from 1 millimeter above this beach ball. Slap, slap, slap. That stuff is flat. He's explaining to his audience with Doublethink that you wouldn't expect to see the curve at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's 3 miles for a 6-foot man. 15,000 feet or whatever he's claiming the ISS is. So they're double speaking their way around. You're not expected to see the curve at altitude.
Can we go to after show now?
Meanwhile, Black Swan, we debunked Earth curve as being a horizon. in 2020. People are still appealing to it. It's fine by me. It's just their basis of their belief, and I'm now intrigued as why they would use that as a standard when they don't know anything about it. Most people's standards are reasonably high when they're going to be convinced of something. The fact that they've been indoctrinated into just believing it means their standards drop. And all I did today with the guy in the pre-show was, I thought about it, I'm like, normally I'll get to objections before I even challenge what they're believing in, just by repeating back that which someone claims to me in the pre-show. The guy got triggered and started interrupting, doing all the normal fundy things. All I did, and I kid you not, was try very tentatively and carefully and calmly to paraphrase back his argument to him so that I could have clarity about the words he just said. No challenge, nothing. And that was enough to trigger him. He was unbelievable. I'm like, yeah, because when you just literally repeat people's words back to them with their own crappy standards of globe belief, they're horrified to just hear their own standards repeated back to them. It's insane. Because it's a crappy standard and they don't want to hear it back to them. They want to tell you, so you nod and agree and affirm their bias, but just by repeating back their own low standards to them, it's enough to trigger them. It's nuts.
That's kind of the point I was making when I went into flatter spaces. I said, you can see the curve if you skydive. And the only thing I would hear is like excuses for why they're not going to skydive. Then I started listening. I'm like, oh, you're right. I should see the curve. If the Earth is what they say it is, there's no way my 5-mile field of view would cover 3% of the Earth. That's just too much. That's too much curvature over too short of a distance.
Well, based off the radius of the Earth, you wouldn't be able to see curvature from that height regardless.
Yeah, not even close. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't thinking clearly when I went into the flatter space that it was tunnel vision because your adrenaline's pumping. It was the goggles you're wearing.
Okay, so what's the reality? How have they done this? What's this magic trick? X, Y versus what's the other axis that you'd look at, John, into the distance? In Earth curve maths, you've got an advanced section in the Earth curve mathematics that will describe the left to right curvature across your peripheral view, which is minuscule. As you raise in altitude, you wouldn't be expected to see it at any elevation. Simultaneously, when deriving an inference that we even have Earth curve to begin with, you're not deriving it on the left to right axis. You're deriving it as a point of tangency below surface level that's measured flat. And how are you acquiring that? Well, by deriving the difference between the surface level and your eye level running parallel with it when you raise up in altitude. The difference between that is essentially an angular resolution loss calculation that would infer that if you put it as a point of tangency on a ball derived from polar or Polaris measurements to give you a radial value at 3959, you can then say we've got an Earth curve horizon below surface level, marked with an X labelled horizon. But that's the only point that you actually have Earth curve in existence. That is to say, that Earth curve at the point of tangency below surface level measured flat only exists in the maths. Beyond that, there is no Earth curve. When you claim it's the horizon's horizontal. What do you mean, curving horizon? It's just absurd. But they've got to turn Earth curve into something, and it's a point of tangency in orthographic maths when measuring the difference between eye level and surface level on a flat plane. That's how it works.
Hey Nathan, I was kind of intrigued by what you said, right? You said this can only be observed in mathematics and it doesn't really play out in real life. Something according to that, right? I don't want to straw man, so that is a straw man corrected, but I hope that was a fair assertion and a steel man, right? But then I look at these photos of photographs here that I posted in chat. And yeah, we have both some like on Earth. You talked about observer height, and yes, you could both be a tall guy or a short guy or a woman, but you could also elevate yourself, right? But when we go at sea level and we take a photo like this, and I pinged you, so you should be able to see it, but I can resend it if you can't.
I don't know if someone, hold on, just for that admin's sake, I'll keep it brief. If there are one of my mods that can stick it in my local chat for my audience in Master B, I can present this guy's stuff, but keep talking as though I am just looking at it, and hopefully one of the mods will work behind the scenes. Go ahead.
Great. There are 3.
2 minutes. 2 minutes past the hour, guys.
Isn't it 12 minutes past?
Okay, what my mods
No.
know they're all well they're oiled, so hopefully we'll stick it in my local chat so I can present it. But carry on as you were. Tell me all about it.
Right. Yeah, and again, like this isn't a debate. It's hopefully just scientific inquiry and arriving at higher knowledge, right? But from what I gather when I look at these, assuming they're real, is that you can absolutely observe curvature, that you can absolutely observe an optical horizon, right? And although not geometric, and although a horizon can mean semantically different things, and colloquially maybe sometimes it's used to describe a phenomenon on Earth, and then sometimes it's a descriptor in math, just like a surface in math would also map out that there would follow that there would be an edge on a flat Earth, right? But since flat is just a descriptor of the surface, but not the shape, and you sort of can like differentiate the two in real life, not in math. Just like that, I think it's fair to say that horizon also have different meanings, right? And so when I see these photos, I see curvature in these. It's a power grid, and it's sea level, so that's why it's so nice. I see them curving, man, and I see them going over the horizon, and they become less and less visible. And you would expect them to go linear, but they really don't appear to be, right? And maybe not just appearing, maybe they just really aren't like that, right? So maybe you could explain to me with the knowledge that you have that I don't, why this phenomenon occurs, why it could be observed, and if you're going to argue refraction or optical illusion, please provide substance for that. And then after that, perhaps you could dive into how you would debunk space photos. And if
Well,
you're
that's a
going to
lot to take
invoke
in. Just one thing at a time. There's already like 3 or 4
Okay.
things on the table. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay if you can handle one
Okay,
at a time.
you appreciate first and foremost that this is what's known as a burden of proof reversal fallacy. As
Nope.
I understand it from your positioning, would be of the opinion that we are on a spherical surface, and you're now utilising the horizon to claim that it is a Earth curve edge, and asking me to explain why boats do something at the horizon. I haven't
Did
got
I
a
mention
claim.
boats, or did I make a claim like
I was
that?
only,
I don't think
I was
I
only
did.
about 10 seconds into me responding to quite a lot of
And you
information that you
already
laid on my
fucked up.
table. You're still talking,
Yeah.
it seems. Did you have more to add? Because obviously the middle of my sentence interrupted the start of yours. You go ahead. You go ahead. Did you just like yammering through the top of me taking apart your fundamentalist religious belief I've already taken apart based on the fact the horizon's not Earth curve? I'll just summarise it in one sentence. The horizon's not Earth curve. And I, as a flat earther, make no claims about what the horizon will or won't or should or shouldn't do. Globe believers do. They say it's Earth curve. It's not. That's the end of this discussion. I don't have to explain anything beyond the burden of proof reversal that you've employed to get me to explain why the horizon doesn't make. Did I make a claim about it? Did I claim that it proves a flat Earth? I can, if you want. I can make a claim about the horizon proving a flat Earth. You have boats going over an Earth curve edge we debunked in 2020, though. That Earth curve only exists in the maths. The maths utilises measurements of surface level to infer there's a point below surface level called Earth curve, marked with an X labelled horizon in Earth curve maths, that uses a flat surface level to infer what you think is representative, an image of the horizon. The horizon is an Earth curve. I hope that answers your questions. Shout
I
out
was
to
muted this whole time, so I was kind of confused as to why that was. Because
why is the horizon not Earth curve?
Well, I didn't imply that, nor did I state that. So what you said, that it was a burden of proof reversal fallacy, just doesn't hold because I didn't imply that, nor did I state it. All I said is we observed this phenomena here, and I even highlighted how you can use horizon as a different sort of colloquial term, and how they're different and both applicable here. If you would like me to, I could say, well, the end of the waterline as we see, or where the power grid appears to be bending, anything that really would describe the same phenomena, and then you would have to tackle that, right? Because I'm not making a claim that there is a spherical Earth, nor am I presupposing that it is. I'm just asking for, through inquiry and through conversation, looking at reality together, can we
Pictures.
explain that? Can we explain this on a flat Earth?
Quick
And I was
shout out
waiting for
to
you to
quick
hopefully
shout out
engage with
to.
that. And I don't know
Okay,
if
I got
you
your
broke
question.
down with meta.
Thanks. Shout out to Roger Ledwell. Says, perspective, please, for 100. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. Yeah. There is a claim that utilises the horizon. It's just not mine. Hence me labelling it as a burden of proof reversal fallacy. You've now said, well, you personally aren't making a claim. That's fascinating. You are but one man, and there is a Western world religion that asserts that we have, based on maths that's set in stone, a physical geometric sphere edge below surface level, labelled horizon, marked with an X in Earth curve maths. That's where the inference that the horizon in imagery would be asserted to be Earth curve. To then ask me to explain why that would be the case when I'm not making a claim about it is a textbook burden of burden. I don't have a burden to satisfy here. I'm not making a claim about it. I asked, wasn't rhetorical, if you'd like me to make a claim as a flat earther utilising the horizon, I can do that. I'm just not going to justify the globe's claim that we've got a marked with an X labelled horizon below surface level that's measured as flat in the maths for you or anybody else to insert an idea that a horizon, defined as being horizontal, would somehow be curving and therefore proving, by way of an assertion that boats go over a horizon that's defined in this maths as a X below surface level, to claim that you've got geometry for the blocking of the boats with the physical geometric sphere edge you say is the horizon. It isn't. It's not my burden. I'll ask again, now that I've debunked Earth curve horizons, would you like me to make a positive claim, as opposed to satisfying your burden of proof reversal, for the horizon to prove a flat Earth? Because I can make a positive claim about it, if you'd like me to. Like you made a claim that the horizon in your images would be curving and proving it, and boats and stuff. That's positive claims from you, even though you denied them as being your claims. Yeah, they're the Western world globe claims. We all know what they are. Doesn't matter what you think or what you're claiming.
Right. I mean, it's kind of a long answer, just saying that you don't
Yeah,
support that
I know.
position and therefore you don't
It
want
was
to
a lot to
defend it.
take
But
in.
that's great. Well, it really wasn't. It was just like word salad. But thank you. It's always good to
Now,
have
can you mute
word
this
salad here
asshole?
and there.
Asshole, not word
Now,
salad. No. When I describe physical geometry of your Earth curve fundamentalist religious zealot belief, because you're a moron, a retard, somebody who has a sphere belief, a religion. So to tell me I'm using word salad will get me aggressively attacking you as a retard. You simply didn't understand my exemplary understanding of your own mathematics, that you would infer the horizon in your image is a curved horizon. Oxymoronic. But nevertheless, you think that proves Earth curve. I know where your religious belief as a zealot came from. And what you've got to tell me in response to that is that it's word salad, meaning that you must be fundamentally mentally retarded because you couldn't comprehend any of the words that came out and could only hear blah, 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 like a retard. That's what you thought was word salad. No, any reasonably cognizant person could have processed what I said and understand the physical derivation of a sphere edge horizon below surface level when measuring the derivation of eye level to surface level. A very accurate and concise rendition of your Earth curve maths that gave you the inference that the horizon in imagery was Earth curve. It is not. Okay, not word salad. I've repeated it so that you, the Dumbo, didn't understand a word of it and thought it was word salad. No, it was a demolishment of your Earth curve zealotry. You understand the second time it came your way? Or are you just going to tell me word salad again, asshole?
Well, and just for the audience, it's definitely not word salad. It was definitely a coherent explanation that you gave, Nathan. It wasn't disorganized, wasn't incoherent or unintelligible or nonsensical at all. This is just an excuse these guys like to use when they're cornered.
It's not an excuse.
I would
It's
like to
just
point
what
out.
should I say?
No, it's a truism. Take people at their words. Word salad. Jumbled up mix of words. Okay, I summarise that as what he heard was blah, 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 Earth curve. Blah, 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 geometry. Blah, 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 therefore not a sphere. And he's gone, word salad to me. Just a mixed up jumble of words that I didn't understand. Yeah, take him at his face value. What he said was word salad. That's what he heard. Too thick to understand.
And he
Well,
also
this is the
used word
same.
salad because he was describing a thing we see as a phenomenon. It's not something
Unrealistic.
happening. He's saying that an object is a phenomenon in his mind. That's word salad.
So you're saying projection.
Good catch. I didn't catch that.
Fine, projection. I'll take that as an answer. I don't care. We debunked Earth curve being the horizon in 2020. The fact that people have never heard it before because we're in a server that we're not normally in, it's no surprise to me. Being told that it's word salad when it's incomprehensible to someone with a low IQ. Yeah, no worries, mate. You say word salad, I'll take you at face value. You didn't understand me. Yeah, I know. Too complicated, long words and that. Yeah. You'll listen back on the live show, maybe after a few listens, you'll appreciate and understand what I actually explained to you when I debunked your assertion that the horizon's Earth curve. We measure your mathematical inference with a flat surface level. Earth's measured flat for you to have that fundy belief that the horizon in your images is Earth curve or blocking boats and buildings. You'll need to measure a flat Earth to make that inference. That's where your maths has its genesis. I know this is quite a lot of long words for you to take in. Feel free to tell me it's word salad, son.
Oh, I understand, Nathan. For those who understand what you said, it's intelligible. For those who don't, it's word salad.
Exactly. There you go.
But that doesn't matter, Nathan, for these guys. I mean, AT's seen the Earth curve also out of Concord, or he's seen a video of it. So that's as much proof as he needs.
Yeah.
Isn't it, AT?
Low standards.
I mean, I'm willing to engage in conversation if I'm not muted all the time, right? I think it's okay if you have something you're not satisfied with, that you give your rebuttal. Thank you, Nathan, for your rebuttal.
Oh, that's okay.
But I think, wait, I wasn't done, so you don't have to interject, right? That's
I
not
said
polite.
thank you. I just said you're welcome.
But I appreciate that I can now talk, right? And so it's clear to me that you don't take a position in this case about the horizon. I wasn't aware. I don't know who you are, and I joined late.
I didn't
so
say
that's
that.
on me.
I asked
But
you, I invited you if you'd like me to give you a standard of evidence that I'd use as a flat earther. You took that to
I am
mean...
aware.
Excuse me, I'm just
I
going to
don't know why
correct
you're
you. You were
cutting me off.
wrong. You said you don't take a position on the horizon. You were incorrect. You didn't listen. Again, demonstrating mental incapacity. When I specifically asked you twice if you'd like me to lay down a standard using the horizon, explicitly asking you if you want my evidence, you took that to mean I don't use the horizon as a standard. Wow, you really are fundamentally retarded. Can't listen. Don't understand the words I'm using. You just hear them as word salad. No, I do, mate. I've got a standard. Do you want to hear it? Third time's a charm. Or do you just want to tell me I don't use it? Like a complete bonehead retard that doesn't listen and can't comprehend. Simple English. Yeah, I've got a standard that uses the horizon, Dumbo. Maybe listen next time. What, is it your turn to talk? You go ahead, son. You've got a lot to say and a lot to listen to, right? Come on, son. Tell me I don't use the horizon again. You're doing really well, by the way.
So I'm glad, right, that you're demonstrating you can't wait and hear me out, because that's not what I said.
I did hear you out. You told me I don't have a standard that uses the horizon, fundamentally defying that which I'd already laid down twice to you, making you an idiot. I'm going to disagree if you say something that's wrong.
All right, so if you're going to make a claim that it's wrong, you should be able to substantiate it, right?
Oh, would you like me to do so? I can do that right now. Would you like me to substantiate it? No worries. I'll do that right now if you'd like.
Through my sentence.
I only asked 4 times.
Wait.
I could substantiate it. I will. I'll do it right now. You got it wrong. You thought I didn't have a standard. I corrected you, and now I'd like to substantiate that. Obviously not allowed. This isn't a two-way conversation. It's just him. He just needs to yabber constantly with nonsense that's not right about what I haven't said through the top of me trying to correct him. Yeah, I can substantiate it, mate. A proof of a flat Earth using the horizon. I already did it. It's in the Earth curve maths, surface level. Yeah, but I can do more. Feel free to tell me again I don't use the horizon as a standard. I do. I use it in your own Earth curve maths, mate. You may respond.
Yeah, now I can as well, right? That was muted again. But yeah, so I posted a lot of images. You said the mods got them over. I don't know how many people you are, but I hope you have them over now. There was a space photo in there, right? So I'm kind of curious. I guess like this time I'll do better. I'll ask right off the bat. Do you have a position on space that you would like to share? And do you have a stance on you could say Earth from space and the photo and the validity of these that you would also like to share off the bat? Just so you're not confused this time.
Okie dokie. So are we done then? It would seem from your response and moving on to a different question that you're not going to acknowledge in any way the fact that the horizon's not Earth curve, or that I have got a standard of evidence in terms of the horizon in Earth curve mathematics. where surface level is a flat Earth proof. Someone's breathing down their microphone while I point out the flat Earth evidence. Can whoever's breathing down their mic not do that as I point out that Earth is measured flat in the Earth curve maths? That's had no response. No? Just want to move on to space? Is it so painful to listen to my rebuttals and actually address them when I describe how Earth is measured flat for you to infer we've got a physical geometric sphere edge below surface level that's being measured? That was my rebuttal.
Actually, no. It's very entertaining. I think the substance of it, I greatly appreciate. It's just your manners are completely off, so that's not so entertaining. Yeah. But you're emotional and triggered, so it's.
When people lie about things I haven't
it's
said, I
not-
get very annoyed very quickly. As in, when people tell me I don't use the horizon as a standard, when I do, and I've invited them to hear it twice and they haven't responded to it. And then when I've laid down how I do use the horizon in contradiction to their incorrect assertion that I'm apparently emotional about, just correcting someone bullshitting about things I don't say, that'd be you. Yeah, people like you piss me off. And I'm going to tell them when they're wrong and correct them. And then lay down a standard they say I didn't have, only for them to move on to a question about space. I mean, you say I'm rude. Meanwhile, you've ignored the actual discussion based on the standard you questioned me about. I rebutted it, told you why the horizon's not Earth curve, and pointed out how you get to that inference with a measurement of a surface level in the maths for your inference of a globe. The belief you hold is based on a flat Earth measurement. I'd like a response to that before we move on, rather than being told how rude I am. Pretty please with sugar on top. Can you respond to the fact we need surface level to be flat in Earth curve maths to infer, for you to infer, for your fundy belief in a sphere, that we've got an Earth curve horizon debunked in 2020? Can you respond to that, please, before we move on?
Yeah, I absolutely disagree. That's my
Fantastic
response.
rebuttal.
It's not a rebuttal. You asked if I
I
had
know
a
it
response,
isn't.
not a rebuttal.
I'm
right?
well aware that that's not a rebuttal. Your Earth curve maths
Great.
comes. I can make a
But then you
conclusion.
should
Given
satisfy
you
it,
haven't
right? We should be able to
given you
move
haven't
on.
refuted it, I will make a conclusion.
You didn't ask for a refutation, so
Do you feel free
maybe
to
you want to be
refute
more.
the fact?
Maybe
Feel
you want to
free,
be more specific and correct in your language, right? That would help.
but you need me to be more hyper specific.
normal
You need me to be more hyper specific about what I'm
No, just
debunking.
generally specific, or like the very.
Sorry, being
minimum
rude. I
amount.
was in the middle of that sentence. Was that me in the middle of my sentence interrupting the start of yours? I'm sorry. You seem very rude. Perhaps you're
was.
projecting your rudeness like now when you're interrupting again. Don't be rude. You charge me with that, by the way. You could just say sorry and we can move on.
Apologize for what?
Interrupting me.
Which is something you do all the time. So no, I won't apologize for that.
I see. You're just projecting your own rudeness onto me. I see. People could do that all the time. Yeah. Meanwhile,
No, it's clear
meanwhile, we're not
observation
going
of the
to
whole
address the standard of
You did
an
it
Earth
just
that's
now.
measured flat. You're going to tell me that you're not being asked to refute that. Yeah, I'd like you to refute the fact that for you to infer there's a horizon below surface level, we need to measure surface level, flat. Feel free to refute that in any way, shape, or form. Otherwise, I'll conclude with telling my audience that Earth is being measured flat for you to conclude that we've got a sphere edge below surface level called Earth curve. I'll make that conclusion when you don't refute it again for a second time. Disagreeing isn't a rebuttal, as you've already pointed out, just in case you rinse and repeat that reply. Go ahead.
All right. So now you're asking if I have a refutation. I do have that. And also, absolutely, this is a burden of proof reversal fallacy, because what you're doing now is you're trying to make me substantiate how curvature is measured flat, which is not my original claim, that's yours. I didn't infer that when I talked about the horizon and laid out very clearly how it wasn't inferred and how this was an observation I would want to inquire information about with you. Obviously, you couldn't do that. And when I said you didn't have a position on it, it's because when I asked you to, you say, well, I don't take a position on it. I can if you want me to. I never asked you to do it afterwards. So that's where you maybe kind of is confused, and that's okay. I laid out
Can
for
you
you now where
refute
your
it,
confusion was.
please?
Yeah, when you get to
And the
rebuttals, my
reason why I
God,
wanted
You want to
to
get to the
move on is
rebuttal?
because
People are chanting through you because you're not really rebutting anything.
now it's because they can't control themselves. You're a bit better than they are, but you're not really good at it as well.
It's a personal attack. So about the surface level in the Earth curve maths, in terms of me substantiating it, just go and look at Earth curve maths. Where it says surface level, it's level. Where it says eye level, it's level. It's parallel with it because that's how the maths functions. You only have to look at it for me to substantiate the fact that Earth is being measured flat in Earth curve maths. And below the surface level, very specifically level and labelled as surface level, and below the eye level, that runs parallel with it, level being level, not curved. You've got an inference of a geometric horizon marked with an X and labelled horizon. It's about the 6th time I've told you. You just have to look at Earth curve maths to substantiate my fact of measuring Earth flat at the surface level in the maths. Those are facts. Earth is measured flat. You need it to be measured flat for you to believe in Earth curve below the flat Earth we measure. Those are facts.
Maybe you should be more precise, because when you say that Earth is measured flat, that's a point. That's not a duration or a stretch, right? So when we're very
Right.
specifically
Was that a
talking about
question or was that
stretch-
rhetorical? When you said right with an upward inflection, am I going to be accused of being rude when I say no? A point? Definitely not. Surface level is a level. It's a line. You don't get lines from points. That's one point meeting another point to make it a level line. Surface level, as in the surface being level. That's lots of it. It's not a single point. That was nonsense.
That's their little trick, the point.
So surface level is level.
Right, I don't know.
I'll
I'm
just
getting
conclude.
Continuously muted. Can we have a conversation?
Well, I could just conclude. We've still got surface level. It's not a point. That was your last rebuttal. Surface level is level, and it needs to be so to measure and infer. You've got a Earth curve edge below the surface level, as labelled in the maths. I don't need to substantiate it. It's a fact you haven't refuted.
Get to the
And
point.
you're going to keep getting muted unless you refute the point.
I
if you're
do
going to
have a
continue with ad
verification.
homs, we want to keep control of the show, yeah? So just answer the questions and you won't have to worry about it.
Okay, I was rudely muted once again.
Answer the question. If you can't control yourself,
this
we're going
guy
to have to
doing?
control you. Yeah? So just answer the questions. It's very simple. If you don't have a rebuttal, we don't have a rebuttal and we move on.
Yeah, with my conclusion about how Earth is being measured flat, because it is.
Okay, positive claim from this guy. We measure Earth as flat. It's in globe maths. Can you provide those mathematics with sufficient proof? I would like to hear that. Let's engage with it. That's your claim, right?
Yeah.
No, it's
For
not
the
in
fifth
globe
time.
maths. Globe maths come from those flat plane measurements. You don't
Correct.
understand.
No,
You're trying
wait,
to
are
switch
you
it
this
around.
guy? I don't know.
Brian's just reiterating
your
that.
voice-
Yeah, Brian's reiterating the same thing I've said 6 times. Yeah. If you want it substantiating, feel free to check for yourself. I would hope you would know this. It's your claim that Earth has a sphere edge horizon marked with an X in Earth curve maths. That's where the claim comes from. I would hope you as the claimant would know that. You don't, we do. Now, if you're saying, well, can you substantiate surface level in Earth curve maths? I don't need to. If you don't know it's there, okay, it's your claim, it's your Earth curve maths. Why are you asking me to go through how your Earth curve maths works? It's yours, you should know. But what, I've got to substantiate how your Earth curve maths works? Nah, son. Just educate yourself. Go and have a look for yourself. Where it says surface level, you'll notice it's a flat line, not a point. That was my original rebuttal to you seeming to understand my argument and rebutting it with a point. But now you don't accept that which is true and factual and anyone can double check, and I'm not going to substantiate. It's a fact of Earth curve maths. It's a necessity for the maths to function. It's called surface level in there. Feel free to check it out yourself. I'd have hoped, given it's your maths, you'd know. You don't. That's your bad, not mine. Go look at your own bloody maths, is my answer to that. It's yours.
Right, so I didn't make a claim, so again, you're wrong, right? I very, very clearly said at the opening, I'm not making a claim about a globe. I'm not presenting any globe maths as proof, and I'm not taking a side nor a position on this matter. I'm doing
Why are you even talking
scientific
to us then?
Wrong again.
So why are you even talking to us? Got nothing to claim. You're just here to chit-chat then.
Oh,
Yeah,
so wait,
Nathan, that's
so
exactly
all
my
you said
sentiment
right
every
now is
time.
So, upon being pummeled, you're not really making a claim. You're not claiming Earth curve and geometry, which is what I've used to debunk it when you pointed out that you could just see curve in images, which was a positive claim you did make, but you now need to deny because the claim comes from an assertion in maths that has a derivation of surface level and eye level. That's how the maths works. But suddenly you're not making a claim like last time, right? It's suddenly about you and the individualistic claims that you make. Now, well, meanwhile, you can bugger off then. Fine, we don't need you anymore if you're not making any claims. We know what the Earth curve claims are, though, without you having to tell us what you understand about them. Or, let's be clear, don't understand about them. You're asking me to substantiate them. Oh, well, you say there's a surface level in Earth curve maths. Yeah, there is. You just don't know that, even though it's your bloody claim. When you talk about the horizon and images, you just don't know the origin of your own bloody claim and think I've got to substantiate it. And then tell me I'm flipping the burden and that you haven't made claims about Earth curve. Yeah, you have. It's just having them parroted back to them is offensive to you. It's embarrassing to you. Shout out to Roger Ledwell and then whoever from G+. Meanwhile, at the most you have done is debunk the radius of the globe, says Roger Ledwell. Yeah, reference to Mr. Sensible. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, did this man not, at least, I was only listening to the past few minutes, I was busy before that. Did this man not say at least twice that you were incorrect about something and then didn't follow up with anything? That would be a claim. Claiming that someone is incorrect would be a claim. So you can't say he's not claiming anything because he claimed you were incorrect. And then he didn't produce the claimed correct answer or thing. So sorry, he is making claims, but he's just not willing to back them up.
Yeah, he's saying the surface level's curved as demonstrated in the image. That's his claim. If I want to summarize, I mean, I can concisely summarize his claim because I listen.
Well, do you remember earlier, Nathan, when I spoke about how I can turn my sitting room floor into a dome by pretending that the measurements I'm not taking them from that surface, but from a flat surface underneath it, and that the light above that surface is very big and very far away, and then gaining parallel light waves from that light, and I can turn my sitting room floor into basically a hemisphere just by not pre-assuming I'm not taking the measurements to the light on the ceiling from that surface.
Yeah, turning the protractor into the globe.
They have to use a flat plane, don't they, for those measurements?
That's how they all work. All of these measurements start with a flat plane. Yes, Brian,
They do, because the measurements of a flat plane is what was hijacked to make the globe mass.
So the thing is as well, guys, once you've measured something in physical reality and you know it's measured flat, why would you then just sort of deny that and say, well, let's go to space and look at it from space? We've just measured it and proved it's flat. That's that.
Yeah, you see, honest people like John refracted curvature, when he came to the conclusion there were no measurements, he became a flat earther. Other people have a zealotry, a religion, atheism, and heliocentrism.
Well, what they need to be able to do is measure their globe surface via angles to Polaris. But that means that they need a geometric globe's edge, what they would call an horizon, to take an angle between that and Polaris. But the horizon is not the geometric edge of a globe, and it is the horizon that we get our correct latitude from. So I really don't know where they're going to go with that.
So basically, the globe is flat, and it was measured like that.
Yeah, John, and then one deck.
The images are in Master B for that individual who wanted evidence that horizontal and surface level are flat planes.
And the globe is flat. It was measured like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and you can have a horizon on a globe. It's an impossibility.
Yeah, thank you. Who dug out these diagrams?
Refracted.
Yeah, surface level derivation from eye level. Height is with respect to surface level, h in this diagram. Yeah. That's how Earth curve maths works. Furthermore, when you're
It's actually shocking to them, Nathan. That's what it is. When they get hit with that reality, it's very shocking to them.
Yeah, well, as time goes by, we're finding more and more of their examples and the routes through to the flat Earth for us to no longer have a necessity to even infer that you need a globe to back engineer into the original measurement. We can just assert the original measurement. Earth's measured flat. Earth's navigated flat, mapped flat, built on flat, obviously and observably flat. And they deal with it the same way we deal with it, because the derivation of their globe comes from those measurements.
And the Greeks all knew that.
Yeah, and it has to be because how else would you take measurements? You can off a curved surface. It's got to be flat.
Well, if you look at what happened there, and I didn't hear all of it because I got the last few minutes of it. But what I got was basically someone being very cordial while they're also insulting you and wasting your time. Because nothing was given. There was no real rebuttal to anything given. You're incorrect was said twice at least, and there was no evidence shown as to how you were incorrect, even though you offered it. You offered to present evidence if he was looking for it, and he seemed to just want to argue with that. I don't know. Like, what's the point? What's even the point of him doing that?
He posted a picture, Brian. He posted a picture of some bridge bending at the end and said that was proof of Earth curve.
A bendy bridge.
Yeah.
I was hoping he would ask you, Nathan, so you could explain it. What is your position on the horizon?
Well, QE once did the maths on this, and as a result, called it Planet Orleans. So the guy who's describing being a globe head, and when he was a skydiver, describing the minimal amount of curve that you would be capable of observing. Well, if this image of the causeway was true, in terms of the geometry it would infer, then you've got a planet the size of New Orleans. It's absurd.
Yeah, 500 miles in circumference.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, 50 miles. 50 miles in circumference. 50 miles.
50? Wow.
Was it the Soundly picture he produced? I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So,
that's
the other problem
about.
you've got in the image itself is there's no XY curvature, but there's apparently extreme curvature into the distance, and then a completely flat and level horizon. You're like, what? That makes no sense.
Yeah, the massive curvature in the Y, but none in the X.
Exactly.
But no, the biggest problem for that,
The globe only curves one way.
The tube.
Yeah,
it's a tube. It's a big tube.
50-mile circumference cylinder. But if in the background of that photograph, there is inferior mirage over at the other side of the lake. The inferior mirage requires a physical surface. It requires something physical and tangible. Like, it requires there to be water there. So when you're seeing this bridge supposedly curving down into the lake, we're out past where the bridge that's happening, right? That sinking effect is happening, right? All that warping. Off at the other side, there's inferior mirage. You can't have inferior mirage without a tangible surface. So that means what we're looking at the opposite side of the lake, we're actually looking at it. It's not like some refracted anything that is inferior mirage at the opposite side. That means we're literally looking at water at the other side of that lake, 24 miles away.
And just a couple of shout-outs. Shout out again, Roger Ledwell, smashing the super chat hard and fast today. Says, and spend more money in the process. Space is a money pit. Thank you very much indeed, Roger, for the super chat. And one more from... Let's just scroll my local one so I can actually see it. Always enjoy your show. Thanks. Nathan says, IDFE chick. Oh, thank you very much. Let's give your super chat a little heart. Really appreciate the support. Thank you very much for all the super chats.
Hey, Nathan, just so you know the lore here, AT came in earlier this week. I think someone's hot micing. Okay. AT, the guy you just talked to, came in earlier this week with the Soundly photos. And he gave all kinds of stuff. Like, he said he rowed a boat out to the lake. And he got on a 10-foot ladder on his rowboat. And it took the photo with his cell phone. It was, like, seriously fun. Everyone knew he was lying. They're like, dude, we know what this photo is. We've seen it throughout the years, right? Why are you coming up with a bunch of bullshit?
Yeah. That's Neil the other day was talking about people assuming that he's a complete dumbo just because he talks about flat Earth. Therefore, the automatic assumption is this person's not managed to make their way into preschool. They've been isolated from everybody for their entire life right up until this point. Therefore, based on that logic, there's no way this person would have seen something that's widely published on the internet. I will claim this as my own and they won't know, they're too dumb. Was there anyone else who wanted to... We'll keep this live stream going as long as there's a conversation going from People who want to have one.
I'm here.
Go ahead.
I was sick for like over a week. What's up, Crit and Nathan? Good to see you. So I finally feel like not dead to the world. So there's something out.
Who's this?
Sydney.
Sydney?
Did you have any lasting impressions, Nathan, of our dear friend Geeks?
Who was that? Was that the guy we were just talking with?
A little bit earlier, Crit, not AT, British fellow. I DM'd you about it. Yeah.
No,
Right at the
Geeks is the
beginning of the
one
show.
that says your channel's dying.
Oh right, okay. No, I don't pick up on DMs. I'm really sorry. I've got about 25 programs running to run the show, so just you'll have to tell me verbally. But that means you can tell me verbally as though I've not heard it because I haven't.
Oh.
If-
Yeah, no,
if you're
no, no,
willing.
no. He's cool. He's cool most of the time, and I still don't know where he stands. So I've been happy that he's been new to this server for about a month, and me and my dude have both talked to him out, privately outside, and I still don't know where he stands. But apparently there's curvature, so I just thought it was cool that you guys actually interacted today. That's all.
Oh, okay. I think we've interacted
if
in
apparently
previously.
there's curvature, then you know where he stands.
Yeah. Therefore, all
Yeah.
of his motivations speak to that claim, unsubstantiated
Well,
by
I
him.
think it's a nostalgia thing. That's what I sent Nathan to you in a private message. I know you have a lot of people that probably send you crazy messages, but yeah, no, he like a lot of us, we all have childhood memories of airplane travel and Concorde flights if we're lucky, and so whether that was like the shape of the window of the plane or whatever, giving the illusion of curvature for convexity, I'm not sure. But we're getting through to him little by little. I'm just glad he was kind of nice to you.
Well, Sydney, that's the thing with these guys. They're all into like showing these observations, apparent
Yes.
observations. They've got
Yes.
no actual physical Earth curve
Well,
measurement. The only
correct.
measurements they have got is of a flat Earth.
And it's not even so much imagination. It's a dissociative cognitive thing that you decide to do as a child to hold on to that happiness. It's an emotional response. So like there's that. Then the lack of evidence. So I went through there. And then, they have no idea that that's like a motive to hold on to. So I sit here and I'm just like, I can't talk to 7-year-old you, but I can tell you it's not a globe. So
Yeah, once Earth curve is debunked, I don't get why they're still presenting pictures.
Well, they've got no measurements, Neil, of a curve. They've only got measurements of a flat Earth.
No. You've got to have pity, right? They don't know why they're making the
correct.
claim. They just think they've got.
It's like empathy, but definitely not pity, because they'll use that and try to manipulate, our side of it. So yeah, I'm with you there for sure.
Just find out what their
Yeah.
standard is, and their standard's very, very low. And the
Yes.
inference of the sphere edge horizon in the images is based in their maths, and they don't know
Mhm.
it. You've just got to educate them in their own claim. We are generally beyond their heliocentric knowledge and understanding at this point.
Right.
So
Well, and I think
tell 'em.
that's part of this whole deception too, Nathan. They play on the fact that we are all, because of the overstimulation of the digital world the last 30, 40 years and growing, and acceleration of what it's doing to younger people than me. It's like, okay, so we have to fight through the fact that nobody can like kinesthetically learn anymore. It's all visual, and then therefore truth, like instantly. It's crazy. So there's that too.
Yeah. If I've already got a bias because I've been trained with it from birth, then this
Yeah.
photo, in quotes,
Mhm.
is good enough. Well, what's your
Exactly.
standard for the photo? What is Earth curve? Nobody's given these things considerations.
Those people don't know how to detect a deep fake, like from anywhere or anyone. It's so sad. Even people can't tell. Like I can usually always tell, like a fake video, like that airplane lady. She was not a marketing executive. She was not real, But people, they'll just take it and run with it. So.
But hold on, if they're showing a picture, fine. But what about the Black Swan? That's a picture and the video.
Well,
so I still
think that
don't
we
get
need-
it.
Yeah, I think that we need to have like a team huddle or something, a consensus on the argument of horizon from our standpoint, from moving forward, because it's gotten a little jumbled. And I've been listening, for over a year and a half now.
Yeah, but
nothing personal.
on the Black Swan, you got no measurements of the rigs, known measurements from
Correct, but there's just too many ways to poke holes in it. I'm with you there, but
Go on then.
it was one of the things.
Everyone stop. Go on then. Let's hear. Hold on. If you assume it's got holes, let's hear what the holes are.
Well, not just the refraction hole, because I mean, me and QE are friends. I'm glad you're working with him now.
Okay, so stop one thing at a time. Refraction.
Yeah. So he's the one that showed me the Black Swan a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And then he'll be like, they'll come back with refraction.
Okay. I don't need to know who's told you it. All I want to focus on is where you think it's flawed, and you've said not just refraction.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go through how that's a hole in your mind.
It's a hole in my mind because of learning a little bit more about the third option of concavity, where the horizon there, it always rises to the eye level, whether that's a GoPro at 0 inches, 0 feet elevation on the beach, or whether that's us. And, you know, there's ways to poke it holes that way.
Whoever's interrupting her, can you stop? She's going to get to say a piece, then we'll respond to it.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'll try to find some images that I can post in the chat to better... I have one in particular that we made yesterday that I'll just put in the chat. That's just an easy way to present, like, 3 ways that it can't be strictly flat Earth argument, and I don't want to see us get, like, you know...
Yeah, but she's starting out wrong. She's saying it's rising to eye level.
Can my own panel not become triggered by this?
Sorry, I'm like cleaning and trying to focus. I'm sitting down now, so I don't sound like a rambling fool. But yeah, no, I'm finding it right now.
Okie dokie. So, refraction. How do you feel?
Yes, because a lot of times flat earthers just throw it out altogether that it exists, and there's not a solid, especially with the Black Swan, there needs to be a consensus on how we can say, yes, refraction exists, but this is why it doesn't work here. And then also other examples to back up, maybe like 2 or 3 other solid ones as clear as the Black Swan, maybe, to just back it up for our side, or non-globe side, I should say.
Okay. Okay.
That's all.
Refraction undoes the assertion that we have geometry to measure.
Mm-hmm.
If the horizon's refracted, it is not geometric. Ergo, you can't measure the world like they measure it. In the case of Alberuni, okay, this is going to be a struggle. If I've heard your claim 3 times. I'd just like to refute it. The moment they say,
I would too, and I used to.
I'm not going to get to you though.
Like I used to.
Okay. You've decided refraction's a good rebuttal, and I've made 3 attempts. You've told me 3 times. If you've decided refraction's a good rebuttal, fine. Okay. Jolly good.
Sydney.
No, I mean, they just try to use it. I don't think I spoke correctly.
Sydney.
Forgive me. I'll let somebody else talk to you.
How about me responding to you? Would that be okay?
Of course.
Okay. The assertion is we can measure Earth as a sphere. If the horizon is refracted, it's not geometric. Ergo, we can't measure Earth as a sphere.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right. Well, then we can't measure Earth as a sphere to make the assertion we've got sphere edges and horizons and Earth curve. It debunks it. The moment you say refraction, you're debunking Earth curve geometry. That's the claim in the first instance that we... 4th attempt.
Maybe it's
4th attempt. I'm still in the middle of the same sentence, Sydney.
Sorry.
So last time I said, yeah, just go in faith. Okay, it's a good rebuttal. When someone like me comes along, just keep talking through them and you'll win.
No.
You'll win.
I'm agreeing
Refraction's
with you.
a great rebuttal, other than it's a total failure that I've made 4 attempts to explain why to you. But you've decided it's a good rebuttal. And just yabbering through me is going to be the way you'll win with this argument. Right?
No. I think I miscommunicated my point.
You're just talking through me. I've heard your point 4 times.
Okay.
I give up.
Well, I'd like to restate it then.
What, a 5th time?
Give her a chance.
What, I've heard it 5. I've heard it 4 times. I just wanted to get to the end of 1 rebuttal to it. Now she's asking, can I restate it a 4th? If you just keep restating it, it will become true. Without rebuttal, it's a wonderful argument. And I've made now 5 attempts to give you the rebuttal. That's to say that the assertion is we're measuring something, Earth, as a sphere. What's that you say? Not.
I was saying thank you. I appreciate it, and I run with that most of the time. And I'm on your side here. My point was, I've heard in this server and others by flat earthers that are like veteran flat earthers in here that are not having a concise rebuttal when it comes to the Black Swan argument. One of the examples being refraction. It sounded very jumbled by other people that I've listened to over the last year. That was my point. I miscommunicated it. My bad.
Yeah, they suck.
Not
on
you.
They suck when they do the argument. Is what she's saying. I agree.
Yeah. Thank
That's
you.
on them.
That's.
But how do you know
There was
what
nothing
physically
disagreeing
exists?
with Nathan whatsoever. So.
Okay.
Right, but how do you know what physically exists? How would you know if something physically exists? There's a way to do it. What is that way?
Measure
Observe
it
first.
Measure it. If we want to know if something's true or not, we just go out of our way to measure it. If it's capable of being measured. Whoever's off mute, please can you mute? Causing feedback. We'd measure it. It was claimed that we could measure Earth as a sphere. With the horizon as an Earth curve edge, we could measure. Until we refract that horizon, then we can't measure it anymore. But that's the end of the argument. That's why it's a winning argument and not a losing argument.
Okay, I'm with you. I apologize if what I said it didn't come out the way I intended, but Elijah said it correctly there. So.
Okay.
Of what I was in.
Was there any other
that's on
holes?
the individual then.
You said refraction. That was the first one. That's not a hole. That's actually them conceding. But was there any other holes that you thought we had in the Black Swan argument?
Yeah, I will give me about 2 minutes and I'll think about them because I know that I have them saved in a folder. So give me a sec.
Okay.
In a folder, wow.
Well, we can buy 2 minutes. That's okay, Neil. So the argument for the audience's benefit is as follows. It's called the Black Swan. I'll just preface this because it's based on Karl Popper's Black Swan. The argument being that if you assert all swans are white, you only need to show one black swan to debunk the argument that all swans are white. Now, in the case of our argument for Earth curve edge being horizons that are physically capable of proving we have a measured sphere beneath our feet, we can show that the geometry asserted to make that claim is debunked when the horizon, physical sphere edge hill getting in the way of things, is beyond the limitations laid down by their maths. Ergo, the horizon is not Earth curve. Earth's not a sphere, and them saying refraction ultimately means that you affirm we can't measure Earth curve edge horizons.
And if you can't measure it, it doesn't physically exist. It's over.
Is that true? God damn.
The problem we have is we have a situation where flat earthers don't understand the Black Swan argument. And then they're trying to use it with ballers, and the ballers are saying stuff like refraction, and the flat earthers don't realize that the ballers are ending their own argument by saying that, because they don't understand that refraction means, oh well, if the horizon's refracted, then it's not geometric, then you can't use it for measurement. That's the end of your law. They don't understand these things. So flat earthers,
They don't even know what refraction is.
there's nothing wrong with the Black Swan. The problem is flat earthers. That's the problem.
Shout out to Roger Ledwell for smashing the super chat. I mean, it is and it isn't.
Super chat. Are we on YouTube?
Yeah, we're live to an audience right now.
It's cool.
It is cool. I totally agree. I've got the best job in the world. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it's great debunking all these globers live.
Everyone's gone very quiet now that they know they're going out to a live audience.
Not me.
No, they know that we're always. We got the bot in here. They're tracking it.
Oh yeah, Oh, why? Have you got a
I
link to
think
the
they
show
did-
in the Discord server?
Yeah, they might not have known this. It's two shows going on at the same time. Yeah,
Fair enough.
Zoidberg's been around for a while. Do you want to ask some questions?
That's
Zoidberg, you got Nathan Oakley here in this panel.
Let me just shout out Roger,
I mean-
Roger Ledwell. Just shout out these two super chats. Refraction isn't physical at all. Thank you for the super chat, Roger Ledwell, and also that's where fails endgame. Thank you again for the super chats. Really appreciate the support, Roger. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm always asking the Globies because I have a practical example, right? Last summer, me and my wife went to Rimini. I'm in Italy, which is on the Adriatic coast, right? And it's also a port city. And I took my camera. It's P900, right? I took my camera, zoomed out to the ships, and I don't see the ships being swallowed bottom up. So why?
I'll ask him some
we have a
questions.
reply. We have a reply from Sydney in the chat on Discord. She's on the phone at the moment, but
Okay. Well,
Sorry
I
if I
wouldn't
was
necessarily
robotic.
respond. It's not necessarily for you to make any positive assertions in that regard. It's their positive assertion that you've got a horizon called Earth curve, and it's not really down to you to have to debunk it by saying, I can show why that doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? At an advanced level, you can start pointing out how to claim you've got an Earth curve, you need mathematics of a physically flat plane to measure. But it's taking what is essentially a positive claim for them to make. You don't have to make it or defend it by showing what will happen in your camera unless you've got a positive assertion to make about the horizon. Do you see what I mean? It's in defense of their positive claim. Let them make it, and when they do, point out that the maths they're asserting comes from a measurement of a flat surface.
Yeah, I mean, all maps are measured from sea level. All of it, elevation profiles are obtained from mean sea level. You know, that's how the Earth is measured, flat, level.
Right, any more fundies? Got any, globe believers? Got any more questions? Anything
on
you feel they
Caveman,
need
were you
debunking?
going to on Caveman, were you going to pick up for Sydney?
Yeah, I got it.
Feel free.
Yeah, I would actually, but I don't know if you can hear me too well with these earphones. You've always complained before, so I thought I wouldn't. If you need to, if you can hear me fine, it's all good. I'll
Just
get
about.
into it.
Good enough.
Right. So what we're talking about? We're talking about the Black Swan, specifically like QE's argument, right? Or just that is the Black Swan, that picture or whatever, right? Well, most of it. Well, honestly, most of
I know, we've lost you. We can't hear what you're saying.
if you're doing after show in like half an hour, I'll be back home. It should be a million times better.
Can anyone make out what this guy's saying? Because I can't hear
I
what he's
can't
saying.
understand the word he's saying.
I think he's saying that because I think he said something about the after show that he might be able to join on a different mic or something like that. I think he said
yes.
Well, thank God for that.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm back. But yeah, that'd be cool. Sorry, thank you. Be back.
Okay, was that it?
Or maybe I can try and get. I'll just mention.
So,
speak loudly. If you look at the curvature formulas, or at least the calculators, right? Most of them do state that their assumption is light is traveling in a straight line, and this and that, right? That's just another thing to look into. Light is not always traveling in a straight line. It's always with mediums and different densities, right? That's another thing to look at. So the assumption
No,
of the distance
that's a misunderstanding of their own model, of their own paradigm. When they say that light means they don't understand. They're not understanding their own paradigm.
All we can hear is
Misunderstanding
your
it.
absolutely god-awful mic. Can you please mute? We heard light doesn't go straight. We got that bit. Can you mute, though, because you're just destroying my show currently with your open mic, and it's horrible.
I can't make it anywhere.
Just mute. If you won't, we haven't got a show to listen to. you and your background noise. Ed, was that Brian that was responding?
Yeah, the claim that light is curving is that's a misunderstanding of their own paradigm. What they don't understand is the mathematics for their own paradigm. That's based on 7 over and greater than 7 over 6R. The mathematics for that is not that your line of sight is bending, because that's what they are trying to say when they're saying light is bending. No, your line of sight stays straight. It's the globe Earth mathematically unbends to place the horizon at the point in a straight line away from the observer that it is in reality. So if you take the Black Swan image, for instance, from a 1 foot observation, the horizon is, let's say, 10 miles away behind those 2 oil rigs. And that's what that means. They need an effective radius that gives them an effective radius of 263,000 statute miles. That's what their effective radius needs to be, which gives them a sphere, an effective circumference of a monstrous size. So that's what that's about. It's about how far or close to the observer mathematically the horizon is. So, because the horizon within their paradigm is consistently refracted, and it's changing how much refraction from hour to hour. Right? Within there, it's not refraction, it's just mathematical refraction based on an R value that they never measured and can't measure because of the mathematical refraction that's based on the R value that was never measured, blah, 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 big circle of nothing. But the whole point is that their mathematics state that they're basically, that the reason that their claimed geometric globe edge is below surface level is because they need to mathematically be able to show how the horizon would be that far away from an observer on that day. So it's not even, the whole idea even doesn't even take, in a lot of ways, curvature is not even important. It's about being able to mathematically explain how that horizon can be that far away and not be the geometric edge of globe Earth. So there's no bending light. It's that their globe, because there's always at least 7 over 6. That means that their globe is a constant arc length, not even a circle, right? So, and this arc length changes its rate of arc depending on where the horizon is. So it's just a mathematical band-aid. That's all it is, on the fact that they don't have a globe and they don't have a geometric globe's edge to use as a measurement. And the horizon is, whatever the horizon is, it moves about. And because it moves further and closer to the observer, they need to explain this mathematically. And how they do it is by unbending their globe, not by unbending from a 7 over 6R position. So they're unbending from that position and bending back to that position, but they're never actually referencing a globe's geometric edge. And this is so they can explain how the horizon can move closer and further from the observer. You know what I mean? It's nonsense, because the horizon doesn't go up and down. The horizon doesn't go up and down. The observer rises in relation to the horizon. Horizon can go up and down in elevation or altitude, but the horizon itself doesn't change. So consequently, they can't even make a claim. They can't even show anything in reality that would even match anything 7 or greater than 7 over 6R, because that would be an horizon that's rising and lowering. But they have to explain why the horizon goes further from the observer and closer to the observer, which it can within an hour. I've had it happen to me myself within an hour, many times. So consequently, that's how they explain it. So there's no bending light. It's like when they just 1 second, let me finish this. When they place it orthographically and turn it into a globe and take away 7 over and greater than 7 over 6R, then the line of sight from the observer mathematically, orthographically, is a curved line going to a point beyond their geometric globe edge that doesn't exist in reality. You understand? But in reality, they need to explain that. Even orthographically, they need to show that as a straight line of sight going to an horizon that is at whatever distance, like in the Black Swan, 1 foot observer height, 10 mile away horizon, probably more, whatever, just mathematically 10 miles. And they explain that by giving themselves a 263,000 mile effective circumference. That will place mathematically within their mathematical refraction based on a globe's geometric edge that doesn't exist and can't be seen due to the mathematical refraction that's based on it. That would place it at that horizon 10 miles away from 1 foot observer height.
Right. Roger Ledwell, thank you for the super chat. Zeuster, you're ruining everyone's experience by having your mic open wide, causing a load of noise. Thank you.
Oh, I'm making noise. Sorry about that.
Yeah, your mic's wide open. Light goes in all directions, kind of like gas-filled space, says Roger Ledwell from the super chat. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate all the support. Thank you, Brian.
Well, light does what's light? We can't see light. We get to see things due to light, but light itself we can't see. You can't observe light. You can only observe what light allows you to see. You know what I mean? So we can't give it a direction. The whole light taking a direction thing, that comes from heliocentrism and globe mathematics and globe claims. Light doesn't have a direction. It illuminates things for you, but you can't see it. I'm looking at a wall now. I can see the wall, right? I can see things behind me in the wall, but I can't see the light. You understand? So, you know what I mean? You can't give light a direction. It's ridiculous.
And as the name suggests, 7/6R is increasing or inflating the radial value, flattening it out. So you're not really bending light, as you say. It's a misapprehension. That was the original point that you were making, just to summarize it.
Can I say something? I agree with everything and I understand everything you said. But how are they getting a horizon on a globe in the first place? With all this light bending and not bending, tell me how they can have a horizon on a globe.
They can't.
Come on now, Neil. You know I can't give you that.
You can't. It defies what a horizon is. Of course, in reality, we do use horizons. It's just in their maths, it's a derivation of a surface level that's measured flat to infer that you've got a horizon that's a bent line. Go on, whoever that is. Go ahead.
Sorry, I rambled you. I'm just saying, spheres don't have horizontal planes.
So that's where it should all end, right there. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Maybe that is perhaps where this live stream should end. So I'll invite the people who are watching on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams to stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to today's Politics Discord server for giving us such a warm reception. Thank you very much indeed. And my G+ Live panel for making today's live show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hitting the super chat, hit me up on Ko-Fi, all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!